Want to bet on Remy?
Be there!
Cigarette mash, cigarette mash. We don't need them anymore. Cigarette mash.
Are you ready for the first step?
If you've just become eligible for Medicare, you need C+. Compare it to other Medicare supplements. C+ gives you up to $1 million in lifetime benefits and no waiting period, even for health problems you've had before. And C+ is from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. For details, dial toll-free 1-800-292-6677. You can count on C+.
Count on the card, Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Want to hand me a 7/16?
Bill Lyons can pull apart a diesel engine, get to the trouble spot, and have it back in working order in no time. But don't look for him in the yellow pages. Bill works in the Navy.
All right, pass the word. Liberty call.
Some of the best people in their fields have a career in the Navy. Men and women who could work anywhere, but believe being the best means a little bit more when it's done for their country. Navy know-how. It's working for America.
WSFA TV 12, Montgomery.
From Alabama's News Center, this is the WSFA TV News 6 o'clock report.
Good evening, I'm Bob Howell, and this is the news for the 10th of January. On Thursday, State School Superintendent Dr. Wayne Teague unveiled his plan for excellence in state schools. And he says that plan will bring about some sweeping reforms. Reporter Kim Davis says the superintendent is still dropping hints about that plan.
Dr. Teague's plan for excellence is ready. When he unveils it Thursday, he expects mixed reaction.
It will draw some flack from within the education family, I'm sure. Not a great deal, though, I think. But I firmly believe that the public is going to rally behind us when they see the recommendation we're making.
Dr. Teague gave bits and pieces of the plan, which includes dealing with a number of problems associated with education. At the top of the list is teacher pay.
We've simply got to come up with some method of paying the outstanding people for the performance for which they deserve.
And the list goes on, like needing a fully funded statewide kindergarten program, eliminating some extracurricular activities, and consolidating small high schools.
Small high schools present many problems. I'll not try to go into all of them here now. And first, let me say, two larger high schools present problems too. We've got some extremely too large, and we're going to have a recommendation about the size of high schools.
Dr. Teague says he's not going to recommend a longer school day or term, provided students are being taught 6 full hours each day. He says the board is expected to adopt the plan by their March meeting. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News.
Today, the State Health Planning and Development Agency refused to reconsider a project to allow in vitro fertilization procedures at University Hospital in Birmingham. The board would not reconsider its earlier vote, which had blocked the hospital's proposed test tube baby program. Today, angry supporters of the program, led by UAB's chief of staff, charged the board had overstepped its authority. They say they'll appeal today's second rejection to a higher authority and possibly to circuit court. Also today, the board voted down a proposed rehabilitation hospital for Montgomery. An out-of-state firm was proposing an 80-bed facility specializing in rehabilitation services. That proposal was opposed by representatives of Lakeshore and Jackson hospitals and the Central Alabama Rehabilitation Center. A group of Montgomery businessmen, meanwhile, say that they have found a way to slow down rising medical costs and also lower insurance premiums. The president of the newly formed Alabama Employers Health Association, Dick McGowan, says most insurance plans encourage the use of high-cost services and also expensive hospital stays. Mr. McGowan says that the new nonprofit health association will negotiate for better rates and emphasize outpatient care. He claims his new plan can save employers about 20% a year in health insurance premiums. More on that in tonight's 10 o'clock report. Hundreds of motorists across the state of Alabama today drove with their headlights on, not only because of the overcast, rainy conditions, but because of their support for a program dealing with the problem of drunk driving. Several statewide organizations are showing their support for a made-for-TV movie that portrays the agony and struggle of a family who loses a child to a drunken driver and the consequences for the man responsible for that vehicular homicide. The news at 6 continues, and in our next segment, there is a story with some explicit references to alleged sexual assaults. It may not be suitable for younger viewers, and your discretion is advised. Also, the story of money and pay raises for state employees and others.
Get with the spirit. Aim high. Air Force.
On the next Entertainment Tonight, actor Robert Stack talks about his heavyweight roles and the high humor of airplay.
It had the courage to really stick it to everybody.
Then learn the facts of life about mother-daughter acting team Chip and Kim Fields.
What's funny to me is that my mom understands me, and I understand her.
We'll also bring you continuing coverage of the John Landis Twilight Zone and the Christine Kraft trial.
On Entertainment Tonight.
Colder weather means bigger appetites, so shop Winn-Dixie now for savings on your favorite foods. That means a hearty WD brand chuck roast. Now, center cut chuck roast is $1.49 a pound. Pay 98 cents a pound for 5 or 10 pound handy packs of WD brand pure ground beef. Save 50 cents on 5 pounds of Thrifty made sugar for 99 cents. 5 pounds of Martha White flour is 59 cents. Save 40 cents.
Winn-Dixie.
Stock up now on good foods for wintertime.
A new year is always a mystery. Who knows what the next 12 months will bring? One thing we do know, our 33 United Way agencies will have the money they need to serve their thousands of clients. Being campaign chairman was a wonderful experience for me because I got to see the good side of the beautiful people in our area. There was a need, and you dug deep to help us reach our goal. Thank you for your United Way gift, and Happy New Year.
Well, it was back to the Capitol for many state lawmakers today, the beginning of budget hearings for the coming fiscal year. And as Chris Grimshaw has found out, the question of pay raises was quickly raised.
Legislators didn't take long to start asking questions about how much money it would take to give pay raises to teachers and state employees next year. And in State Finance Director Henry Stegall's prepared text, it showed the administration also knows how interested the lawmakers are in giving pay raises. But Mr. Stegall says it will be a problem in the general fund. The general fund isn't expected to be able to afford any pay raises, much less new needs for prisons and Medicaids, without finding new money.
If these needs are met, it will be necessary for the governor to recommend and for the legislature to enact the necessary measures to create additional resources.
But a teacher's pay raise won't be any apparent problem. Mr. Stegall says the education budget could be brimming with as much as $300 million new dollars by next year. But Mr. Stegall says the governor wants the lawmakers to save some of that money.
In fiscal year 85-86, the economists predict that there will be a downturn in the economy and that we will not have the growth in the Special Educational Trust Fund in 85-86 that we will have in 83-84 and 84-85.
No one would say how much of a pay raise is being considered for either group. That's something they'll wait to talk about next month when the session convenes. Chris Grimshaw, WSFA TV News at the Capitol.
More tonight on the multi-million-dollar lawsuits filed against former Covington County Sheriff Glenn Chambers and 2 of his deputies. Former inmates who served time in this jail claim to be victims of physical and sexual assaults, and now they've gone to federal court. Special Assignments reporter Norman Lumpkin talked with 3 of the former inmates, and again, these interviews contain explicit references to the alleged sexual assaults and may be offensive to some viewers.
Inmates who say they were raped and beaten and were threatened with death if they didn't submit to their attackers.
First night I was there, it's this white guy about 2 a.m. He came down and woke me up, and he said he was going to have sex with me, and if I screamed that he was going to kill me.
The former inmate also says not only did Sheriff Chambers know about the rapes, but added to the humiliation she suffered while in the jail.
During the time I was in there, Glenn Chambers, and he called me up to the bars and to take his hand and feel on me and stuff. And it was about 12, maybe 12 different white men that went with me. They had no other choice.
This woman says she was also raped at the jail by the sheriff.
I was raped by Glenn Chambers and Don Sanders, by John David Parks. I stayed in there, and it was just steady harassment, sexual ugliness going on, steady being harassed, threatened, slapped, ordered to do things, make liquor runs, and that's about it. It's just the detail that it happened that makes it so bad. I have went hungry because I didn't want to have sex, and I'm mad about it. People don't realize what happens, and it's scary. I have 3 daughters, and I have come here because I want someone to help me. I have went to the district attorney, the United States federal attorney, to do something. And this is the closest that I have gotten. I want the man in jail. I want punishment done, something. I did wrong. I did my time in jail. I paid my debt to society for the way I had done. And I think it only goes for him to do the same.
There were other alleged assaults. This man was serving time at the Covington County Jail and says an incident there caused him to attempt suicide.
I was in my cell, and I was raped by a deputy named Jim Boyette during the time of my stay there. And
did you report this to anybody?
Not at that time. No.
What happened after this incident in the jail?
I tried to commit suicide.
Sheriff Chambers declined to respond to the charges, saying he didn't have a lawyer at the time to advise him. However, he is quoted by a local newspaper as saying, "The charges are politically motivated by his political enemies." Chambers also said in the article he can't get a job in law enforcement because of the allegations and charges by the former inmates. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News, Covington County.
A bank holdup suspect wounded in a shootout with police in a rural southwest Alabama community early today is listed in critical condition. Lloyd Dantzler of Macon, Mississippi, is accused of being the man who robbed a bank in Gilbertown yesterday. Authorities say that he opened fire as searchers closed in. Dantzler is now in a Meridian, Mississippi hospital with chest and head wounds. The news continues with a story of record numbers of convention delegates flocking to the capital city and the financial boon they bring. Plus, tonight's sports.
I'm Eddie Albert, and I am asking you to invest in the future farmers of America in your community. We've got to keep America on the grow.
The road to pro football begins in Mobile with a cool kickoff, 70 college players at one hot game. It's the 35th annual Senior Bowl because everybody likes a good time. Tickets are on sale Monday through Saturday at Mobile's Bel Air Mall, at the First National Bank Arcade on weekdays, or by writing to this address. Sideline seats are $12. End stand seats are $5 for adults and $2 for students. Get yours early because everybody likes a good time.
Most people know you can only buy a Curtis Mathis at a Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Center. They know delivery and installation are included, and there's a 4-year limited warranty on every product. But what people don't know is just how long a Curtis Mathis really lasts.
Oh, well, time to get another Curtis Mathis. Yep.
At Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Centers, our products may be a little more expensive,
but they're worth it.
Who can put you in this brand new Ford Escort for just $53.95? Courtesy Ford can. Who can put you in this 84 Ford Tempo for only $63.95? Courtesy Ford can. Or this new Ford Thunderbird for just $84.95? This new LTD for just $75.95? This new Mustang for just $64.95? Or this new Ford pickup for just $58.95? Courtesy Ford can. When no one else can find a way, when no one else can meet your terms, Courtesy Ford can.
Lots of people came and stayed a while in Montgomery last year, a record number to be exact. The Chamber of Commerce says more than 98,000 convention delegates came to town last year, and reporter Lois Russell tells us what that means to the city.
Well, what it means for us is dollars.
And lots of them. Chamber Representative Ken Funderburk says the 98,487 convention delegates who visited Montgomery last year brought with them more than $20 million for the city's economy. Those delegates attended 359 conventions in the capital city last year. That's a 17% increase over 1982.
It increased primarily because persons were better able to go to conventions than they had been in the past. The economy was improving somewhat, and it increased because of our increased sales efforts.
And Mr. Funderburk says even more records will be set in 1984. He says Montgomery already has a number of historical attractions, and there are new things on the horizon, like the Shakespeare Festival, renovation of downtown Montgomery, the Macon County Dog Track, and the World Expo in New Orleans, which is already paying off.
We have booked some 20,000 room nights already in the city of Montgomery, and primarily this is tour bus business. So you can see that this is already slated to be a big year for us.
Lois Russell, WSFA TV News.
Well, from talking about convention delegates to football and the USFL still making lots of noises.
Yeah, the United States Football League continues to talk the big numbers to the established football players. The latest word is that the Chicago Blitz has offered Walter Payton a 3-year, $6 million deal to come over from the Chicago Bears. Payton's agent says they are looking at the offer naturally, but they will wait to hear from the Bears. Payton becomes a free agent on February 1st. It appears we may have been misled, though, by the Pittsburgh Maulers, who announced yesterday that Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier had signed with them. Rozier in Tokyo for this weekend's Japan Bowl tells it differently, says he hasn't yet decided where he'll play, even though the Maulers trotted out quotes saying he was extremely happy to be coming to the new team. Rozier says he'll make up his mind when he returns to the United States. He also hinted he wants to be paid more money than Herschel Walker. The Alabama basketball team was left painfully thin at guard when Ennis Watley left for the pros after last season. Last night, when Eric Richardson went to the bench with a turned ankle, their hopes at Rupp Arena vanished almost immediately. It was 52-52 in the second half. With 11 minutes to go, that's Kenny Walker stuffing one just after Richardson had tumbled to the floor with his ankle. Without his floor leadership, Alabama seemed to lose confidence immediately. On the next trip down court, Craig Dudley, who replaced Richardson, he's a freshman, threw the ball away there. The Cats scored on the turnover, and then they went on to score 5 unanswered baskets. It was 66-52 before Alabama could score again, and the game was practically over. Walker led the talent-laden, that's Kenny Walker, led the talent-laden Cats. He had 8 of 12 from the floor, 17 points. Alabama was led by Terry Williams with 20. It is not known if Richardson there will be able to play Wednesday night against Vanderbilt in Nashville. Atlanta Braves pitcher Pascual Perez has been arrested in the Dominican Republic for possession of cocaine. Perez, who gained fame by getting lost, you'll remember, on I-285 in Atlanta and missing a pitching start, lives in the Dominican Republic. In the off-season, police say he was arrested last night for possessing a half gram of cocaine. That movie company filming the life of Coach Bear Bryant continues shooting in the Atlanta area. Harmon Wages talked with Gary Busey, who plays the lead role.
It has been barely a year since the late Paul Bear Bryant was carried away from his last victory, the Liberty Bowl, on the shoulders of his last Alabama team. It has been less than a year since his death. But in Atlanta, his life story is being put to film in a movie called The Bear, starring Gary Busey.
The essence of the movie is to get a point across about a man that lived over in Alabama, probably the greatest motivator of young men there has been in a while.
From his famous coaching tower at Tuscaloosa, Bryant masterminded 323 victories and only 84 defeats over 38 years in a career that included a string of national champions. In this scene from the movie, the tower is just being built, and Busey, as the Bear, is addressing his first class of recruits, a team that later won the 1961 national championship.
You're all freshmen. You're all my babies. And we're going to suffer together, and we're going to glory together.
Some controversy surrounds the film. Although Bryant sold the rights to his life story to the movie's producer, the coach's widow has objected to language in the screenplay and helped block the shooting of the movie in Alabama. But the film star believes the Bear's spirit lives inside the production.
Feels bigger than my insides allow at times, you know. Quite a responsibility. Put the voice with the hat and put on these sunglasses, and I can't find old Gary Busey anywhere.
Busey is one of only a few named stars in The Bear, but backers believe the coach's life story alone will be enough to attract moviegoers. If the movie's success comes close to the success Bryant knew as college football's winningest coach, the movie The Bear will be a smash.
Interesting. We'll wait and see. Thanks a lot, Phil. The historic Court Square Fountain in Montgomery is in serious condition tonight. We'll have the latest report on its prognosis when the news continues, and we'll check the cold temperatures ahead.
A Huntington College Diamond Jubilee Minute.
It was an overcast morning in October 1968 as Dean Paul T. Stone led a colorful procession of caps and gowns across the campus green. Dignitaries from around the state were gathered to inaugurate Huntington College's 12th president, Dr. Alan K. Jackson. Not since 1923 had Montgomeryans had the opportunity to participate in such an event. Retiring President Dr. Hubert Searcy had foregone the ceremonies in 1938 due to the school's financial problems. Now, as Dr. Searcy placed the presidential medallion about Dr. Jackson's neck, Bishop Goodson of Birmingham administered the prayer of dedication. Afterwards, students planned a rendezvous under the golden arches of Montgomery's first McDonald's franchise, just a short distance down Fairview Avenue. McDonald's salutes the Diamond Jubilee of Huntington College, celebrating 75 years in Montgomery, a sparkling tradition of excellence in education for 130 years.
Savings.
Saving Appliance has Magic Chef washers and dryers on sale. This 18-pound heavy-duty washer with a half-horsepower motor and all the wash cycles you need, $319. This matching Magic Chef dryer with a 20-pound capacity and automatic dry cycles, $249. Yes, an 18-pound Magic Chef washer, $319, and a 20-pound dryer for $249. Shop Saving Appliance, East South Boulevard, Montgomery, and Troy, Alabama.
Well, the 99-year-old Court Square Fountain in downtown Montgomery is listed in critical condition tonight. A spokesman for the city says the latest coating of ice over the New Year's weekend was devastating, but immediate action to restore the historic landmark is being taken by the city. The fountain, which was dismantled for further examination, is in some undisclosed city building, awaiting a recording of its condition. And now the process of restoration has been aided by a $25,000 donation from the Landmarks Foundation. The rest will come from the city. Well, that was freezing cold weather. Is more of that on tap for tonight?
Well, not to that degree, Bob, but it is getting cold out there. As you know, if you've been out the last few hours, take a look at the temperature range during the afternoon. If you were out at lunchtime, felt pretty nice, right? 64 degrees, not bad. But many of you, by the time you got out to go home, it was down to 45 degrees, a drop of about 20 degrees in just the span of a few hours during the afternoon. It's even colder than that now. And then you add in the wind, and it seems colder. Look at the wind chills around the state. Already single digits across the north, mostly teens across the north central, and mostly 20s in the south. This was posted about an hour ago. Since I posted these temperatures, they have gone down quite a bit. For instance, Huntsville, Decatur, now down to 0 wind chill. And in the morning, moms dress the kids warmly. It's going to be about 0 for the wind chill tomorrow morning in the central portion of the state. By the way, if you're a traveler, the Weather Service has had a lot of calls about traveling in the state. People think the roads are automatically going to freeze when it gets cold. That's not true. There are no travel problems anywhere in the state tonight, and none anticipated tomorrow morning. Look at the weather map tonight. It looks like a traffic jam in the eastern U.S. 2 low pressure areas, 2 fronts very close together here. The first front passed through earlier today. yesterday and brought nearly 2.5 inches of rain to Mobile, 1 3/4 inches to Montgomery, and then the second one is an Arctic front. It's racing to catch up with the first one, and it will make it tonight. And here is the center of cold air up in, well, there was up in Minnesota, where it has been bitterly cold all day today. Here's the satellite view of the east. Again, the two low-pressure systems, moisture racing northeastward while the cold air is funneling in. That sets up a dangerous situation along the East Coast tonight. Could be a crippling snowstorm for places like Washington, Baltimore, New York City, even up to Boston. They're just going to have to wait and see. They're glued to their TV tonight. The heavy cloud deck over Alabama will stay with us most of the night and then break up tomorrow. In the central portion of the nation, again, the center of high pressure up here in Minnesota, it was 29 below at International Falls this morning. Some light snow over the northern plains, rain in the Pacific Northwest, clear skies in the southern plains. The radar scanning from Montgomery, which was picking up rain most of the day, now showing no precipitation around Alabama, although there still could be some light drizzle here and there that is just too light to be detected. Look at these 6 p.m. temperatures around the state. 33 at Birmingham with a wind chill now of 7. And the warmest spots would be Ozark and Enterprise with 48 degrees. It's 42 at Danley Field now, cloudy skies, 43 out at Maxwell. The high temperature today was 67 degrees. The low so far is the current temperature, 42. Winds are northwest at 17. Wind chill factor now down to 20. Humidity 89%. Barometer rising 1 3/4 inches, rather 1.72 inches of rain the past 24 hours. Lake Martin down 0.2 this morning. Lake Jordan down 0.4 from yesterday's reading. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:48. Setting tomorrow evening at about 5 o'clock. Forecast for tonight, windy, turning much colder, 20% chance of drizzle during the evening. Wind advisories in effect for winds as high as 30 miles per hour, a low temperature near 30. Tomorrow, cloudiness decreasing. It'll be a cold day. Northeasterly winds at 10 to 20, high temperatures in the upper 40s. On Wednesday night, clear and cold, low temperatures down to about 30 degrees, so not as cold as tomorrow night. And another thing, the winds tomorrow night will not be as strong. On Thursday, the clouds start to return, a little bit warmer, the high temperature on Thursday, probably reaching the low 50s. And that's the way it looks, Bob.
Thanks a lot, Rich. Our Alabama traveler, Lisa Walsh, is up next with a little bit of hand magic. That is, if you believe in that sort of thing. But first, the closing Dow Jones average.
Here's the crunch you're craving, nothing'll take its place, 'cause the good gets better with Golden Flakes. Start digging that golden taste. Munch 'em by the mouthful, share 'em with your friends. With a crispy taste of Golden Flake, the party never ends. 'Cause when you get down to it, and the truth is told, the good gets better with Golden Flake. It's good, good as gold. The good gets better with Golden Flake. It's good, 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 good as gold.
South Central Bell has 3 words to answer your communications needs.
Call on us.
3 words and 100 years of experience to back them up. Our dedication to service and excellence has kept you in touch with a century of innovation. So no one is better equipped to bring you the communications of tomorrow, turning technology into services to make your life easier. 3 words sum it up.
Call on us.
Would you like the chance to expand your son's musical talents? Then the Montgomery Boys Choir could be just the thing for him. Auditions are now being held for boys ages 8 through 12, and experience is not necessary. The choir performs at various events throughout the year and has plans for trips to perform in other cities. So, if your son enjoys singing, make sure he has the chance to sing with the Montgomery Boys Choir. Call 265-3975 or the Montgomery Parks and Recreation Department for information or an audition appointment.
TV 12 there, be there.
Weeknights at 6:30, enjoy the medical misadventures of MASH.
Life can get sort of empty when all you've got to curl up with is a pillow.
Take off your clothes.
Somebody ran off with my underwear.
Well, I hope that teaches you something about blind dates, Margaret.
MASH, weeknights at 6:30 here on TV 12.
Tonight, Alabama traveler Lisa Walsh introduces us to some little people in Crenshaw County who let their fingers do the talking.
In Brantley, members of the Newbie Baptist Church youth group, who call themselves the Little People, spread the word of God through puppets. The Little People are a hit with the children. And the grown-ups, too. The 4 puppeteers range in age from 12 to 18. They started in August and have been perfecting their craft ever since.
You really have to over-express what's doing. Like if you're laughing, you just don't go like that. You really shake, you know, like that. Or if you're scared, you really overdo it, because that's what gets the audience's attention, and it makes them look more human.
Make Ralph talk. Say something what Ralph would say.
Hi, Lisa. How are you doing? We love for you to come here. We hope you enjoy it.
Although not all their skits are religious, many are, such as the biblical story of Jonah and the whale. The little people have the full support of their minister, Reverend Bobby Bundy, who says they may be reaching an audience which he can't.
Children, they cannot interpret the message of the ministers brings, and so through the puppets they can be hear the word of God, and it can be more up on their level.
So until next time, good night, and may God bless you.
Lisa Walsh traveling through Crenshaw County.
Let's go upstairs now to the newsroom. Gina Gregory will be anchoring tonight at 10. Gina, what's up?
Bob, tonight we'll take a look at winning those mail-out sweepstakes, and we'll also hear from University of Alabama head coach Ray Perkins, who's the guest speaker at tonight's Montgomery Quarterback Club.
Okay, thanks a lot. Gina Gregory, your 10 o'clock anchor. We hope that you'll make your plans to join her a little later on this evening. Well, that's it for tonight's 6 o'clock report of news, sports, and weather on this 10th day of January 1984. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. MASHer's coming up next here on TV 12.
The Montgomery Boys Choir will present their Christmas concert on Monday, December 19th in the Huntington College Chapel at 8 p.m. Call 265-3975 for information.
Freddie, stop fiddling. I'm not. I'm scratching. My shirt starts off like before. And where's that fresh smell?
Well, I just washed it. You didn't use Downy. There's a big difference without the softener.
Only Downy combines skin-loving softness with April freshness. Makes static cling almost disappear.
Tonight's the night.
Mom, it's soft.